excluded from my sister's wedding because I was socially unfit. Her words, not mine. So I booked a peaceful vacation instead. The next morning, karma hit fast, and my phone started buzzing like a hornet's nest. Dozens of missed calls, a flood of panicked texts. Suddenly, the unfit one was the only one they needed. Long-time lurker, first-time poster. This happened over the past few months, and I'm still processing it all. Throwaway account because some family members know my main Reddit handle. Sorry for the length, but context matters, and the ending is absolutely worth it. I've been debating whether to post this for weeks, but my friends keep telling me Reddit needs to hear this story. TLDR at the bottom for those who want to skip ahead. But honestly, you're going to want to read the whole thing. This is one of those stories where every detail matters, and the payoff is incredible. All right, Reddit. Let me paint you a picture of my life before everything went sideways. I 34 male, and I work as a senior marketing director for a major advertising agency here in Chicago. Started from the absolute bottom as an account coordinator, making $42,000 straight out of college with student loans up to my eyeballs. And after 12 years of grinding through 60-hour weeks, missed weekends, and more corporate politics than I care to remember, I'm now pulling in about $340,000 plus performance bonuses that usually add another $80,000 annually. I own my house outright in a nice suburb, 3-bedroom colonial that I bought as a foreclosure, and spent 2 years renovating myself. Drive a decent car, nothing flashy but reliable. I've got about $950,000 saved up between my 401k, investment accounts, and regular savings. Not trying to show off here, but this becomes critically important later in the story. My sister Ashley, 29 female, and she's basically everything you'd expect from someone who peaked in high school and never quite figured out what to do next. Always been the pretty one in the family who got by on looks and charm, while I was the awkward nerd with thick glasses actually working for everything I had. After graduating high school with a 2.1 GPA, she bounced between community college for about a semester, some pyramid scheme nonsense selling makeup to her friends, a brief stint at a clothing store, and eventually landed on becoming an Instagram influencer, with like 60,000 followers she bought half of. Her content is basically just lifestyle posts, selfies at trendy restaurants she can't afford, and promoting whatever random products companies send her for free. Think generic blonde girl holding teeth whitening kits and protein powders with captions like, "Living my best life. Use code Ashley20 for discount." You know the type. Here's where this story really starts. I've been her financial safety net for literally years. And I'm not talking about small amounts here and there. When she crashed her brand new Honda Civic because she was texting while driving and rear-ended someone at a red light, I paid the $8,000 for a replacement down payment. When she racked up $18,000 in credit card debt buying designer clothes and handbags for her brand and content creation, I bailed her out and paid off every single card. When she got evicted from her apartment because she spent 3 months of rent money on some girl's trip to Miami for networking opportunities, I covered her security deposits, first month's rent, and moving costs for a new place. But it goes deeper than just the big emergencies. I paid for her car insurance for 2 years when she claimed she was between opportunities. I bought her groceries more times than I can count. I paid her phone bill, her gym membership, even her Netflix subscription because she said she needed it for market research on what content was trending. I'm talking about dropping probably $90,000 on her over the years, and that's being conservative with my estimate. Every single time, she'd cry real tears, promise she learned her lesson, swear she'd pay me back as soon as she got back on her feet. Spoiler alert, she never did. Not once. Not even $5. The reason I kept helping wasn't because I'm some pushover who doesn't understand money. It's because after our dad died of a heart attack when I was 16 and she was 11, I felt genuinely responsible for her well-being. Mom basically checked out emotionally after the funeral, started working double shifts as a nurse and drinking wine every night to cope with the grief. Someone had to step up and be the adult, so I did. I helped Ashley with her homework every night, drove her to school activities and friends' houses, talked her through every teenage crisis and breakup with whatever loser she was dating that month. When she wanted to quit high school because some boy broke her heart, I'm the one who convinced her to stick it out. When she needed a dress for prom but mom forgot to save money for it, I worked extra shifts at my part-time job to buy her one. So when she started dating Brad about 18 months ago, some crypto day trader who thinks he's the Wolf of Wall Street because he made some lucky investments during the 2021 cryptocurrency boom, I wasn't exactly thrilled. The guy drove a leased Porsche, wore expensive suits, and constantly talked about his portfolio and investment strategies. But Ashley seemed genuinely happy for the first time in years, and he appeared to have money. So I figured maybe she'd finally found someone else to support her lifestyle, and I could stop being her personal ATM. Looking back now, I realize how naive that was. I should have known better. 2 months before Ashley's wedding, I'm sitting in our main conference room in the middle of a crucial campaign presentation for a Fortune 500 client. We're talking about a $15 million account that could make or break our quarterly numbers. When my phone buzzes with a text message, normally I'd ignore it during something this important, but I glanced down and saw it was from Ashley. Hey, Jake! So Brad and I just finalized our guest list, and we had to make some really tough decisions about numbers. The venue has super strict capacity limits, and with both our families being so big, we just couldn't fit everyone we wanted to include. Hope you understand. Love you lots. I'm sitting there staring at my phone screen, trying to process what I just read while my creative director is discussing budget allocations and timeline deliverables. The words weren't computing properly in my brain. I excused myself from the meeting, told my team I'd be right back, and stepped into an empty office to call her immediately. Ashley, what the heck is this text message about? Oh, hey, Jake! She answered in that overly cheerful, fake, sweet voice she uses when she wants something or knows she's about to disappoint someone. I was hoping you'd call. I know the text was probably confusing, but the venue situation is really complicated and… Are you seriously uninviting me from your wedding? It's not that simple. God, why do you always have to jump to the worst possible conclusion? You're being so dramatic right now. Brad's paying for everything, and his family insisted on bringing like 25 people, and we're already way over budget, and the venue can only hold so many people legally, and… Ashley, I'm your brother. Your only brother. I know, and I love you so much. But it's literally just one day. You hate weddings anyway, remember? You're always complaining about how they're overpriced parties and a waste of money. I figured you'd actually be relieved not to have to sit through all the ceremony stuff and small talk with relatives. That comment hit differently than she probably intended. Yeah, I think most weddings are ridiculously expensive productions that put couples into debt for what amounts to a single party. But this wasn't some random acquaintance's wedding. This was supposed to be my sister's wedding. The sister I'd been supporting financially and emotionally for over a decade. Ashley, I've been there for you through everything. Every single crisis. Every time you needed money. Every breakdown, Ugh, here we go with the money thing again. She cut me off with an exasperated sigh. I never asked you to help me, Jake. You offered. You always offer. I never put a gun to your head and demanded money. My blood pressure shot through the roof so fast, I thought I might actually have a stroke right there in that empty office. She never asked? She never asked me to pay her rent so she wouldn't be homeless? She never asked me to bail her out of credit card debt? She never called me crying at midnight begging for help with some financial emergency? So that's it? I'm just not invited to your wedding? Jake, please don't make this harder than it already is. Brad really wanted to keep it intimate and romantic, and his family has very specific expectations about the guest list and the social dynamics, and how many people are you inviting total? Like, around 195, but that includes kids and plus ones, and 195 people. But no room for the brother who'd been supporting her financially for over a decade. I hung up without another word and sat in that empty office for 20 minutes trying to process what had just happened, while my team was probably wondering where the heck I'd disappeared to during our biggest presentation of the quarter. When I finally went back to the conference room, I could barely focus on the client meeting. My mind kept spinning with questions. How long had she been planning this? When did she decide I wasn't worthy of witnessing her wedding? Did Brad influence this decision? Or was it all her idea? I needed answers, and I needed them fast. So during my lunch break, I called Mom at her little retirement community in Arizona, where she's been living since she turned 65. She basically spends her days playing slot machines at the nearby casino, taking water aerobics classes, and dating men who are probably closer to my age than hers. Jake, what a wonderful surprise. How's my successful son doing? How's work going? Mom, Ashley just uninvited me from her wedding. What the heck is really going on here? The pause on the other end of the line was way too long, like uncomfortably, suspiciously long. Long enough that I started wondering if the call had dropped. Oh, sweetie, I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding. Ashley loves you so much and she talks about you all the time. Maybe there was some confusion with the invitations or… Mom. I used the tone I remembered from childhood when I knew she was lying about something. What's really going on? And don't give me some story about misunderstandings. Okay, look, this is complicated, Jake. Brad's family is very well off, like really wealthy, and they're paying for most of the wedding expenses. Ashley mentioned there were some, Logistical complications with the guest list that had to be worked out. What kind of logistical complications? Another pause. Then the truth started coming out, piece by piece. Brad's family doesn't really. They're concerned that you might not fit in well with their social circle. Excuse me? What does that even mean? You know, they're all business owners and socialites and country club members, and Ashley was worried you might feel out of place or uncomfortable in that kind of environment. They have very specific expectations about image and presentation and social dynamics, and, Mom, I make more money than probably half those people do. It's not about money, Jake. It's about social standing and connections and the way people present themselves in certain circles. Brad's family moves in very exclusive social environments, and Ashley thought you might not be comfortable with all the formal protocols and expectations. The reality of what she was saying hit me like a freight train, so she thought I would embarrass her. She didn't say that exactly, but she wants everything to be absolutely perfect for Brad's family. She's trying to make a good impression and establish herself in their social circle. You understand, right? This wedding is really important for her future. Did you know about this decision beforehand? Ashley called me last week to explain the situation and ask for my advice about how to handle it. And you told her what? I told her to do whatever makes her happy. It's her wedding day, Jake. It's supposed to be the most important day of her life. Don't be selfish about this and make it all about you. Selfish. The word hit me like a physical blow. Here I was, the guy who'd been financially and emotionally supporting both of them for years, and I was being called selfish for wanting to attend my only sister's wedding. I hung up on her and sat in my car in the company parking lot, trying to wrap my head around this complete betrayal. My own family, the people I'd sacrificed for, the people I'd supported through every crisis, the people I'd put before my own needs for over a decade, thought I was some kind of social liability who would embarrass them in front of their new wealthy friends. That's when I decided things needed to change, permanently and dramatically. That night, I did something I'd never done before in my entire life. I sat down with my laptop, logged into my bank accounts, and methodically calculated exactly how much money I'd given Ashley over the years. Bank transfers, credit card payments I'd made directly to her creditors, loans that were never repaid, emergencies I'd covered, rent payments, car repairs, medical bills, insurance payments, groceries, utilities, everything. I created a spreadsheet and went through 5 years of bank statements line by line. Every transaction to Ashley or on Ashley's behalf. Every emergency payment, every bailout, every temporary loan that became permanent. The final number made me physically sick to my stomach. $127,000. $127,000 of my hard-earned money, gone forever. Money I could have invested in index funds that would probably be worth $180,000 by now. Money I could have used for my own life, my own goals, my own happiness. Money I could have spent on vacations, home improvements, or building my own future instead of subsidizing her Instagram lifestyle. And this is how they repaid me. By deciding I wasn't good enough to witness my sister's wedding, because I might embarrass her in front of her new rich in-laws. I called my lawyer first thing the next morning. He handles contract negotiations for my agency and some personal legal matters, so I trust his judgment on complex situations. Hypothetically, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, if someone owes you a significant amount of money and you have bank records showing multiple transfers over several years but no formal loan agreements, what are your legal options? That depends on the amount involved and the specific circumstances. What kind of situation are we talking about here? I explained the entire situation in detail. The years of financial support, the wedding exclusion, the family's attitude about my social standing. My lawyer listened without interrupting, occasionally asking clarifying questions about documentation and communication records. Jake, I'm going to be completely straight with you here. Without promissory notes or formal loan agreements, it's going to be very difficult to prove in court that these payments weren't gifts. Family financial support is often considered gratuitous unless there's clear documentation of loan terms and repayment expectations. So I have no legal recourse? I didn't say that. There might be other angles we could explore. The pattern of financial dependency could be legally relevant, and if we can demonstrate that money was given with clear expectation of repayment based on communications or circumstances, we could potentially file a civil suit. Even if we don't ultimately win, the legal process itself would be quite disruptive and expensive for someone planning a wedding. Discovery alone would be extensive and costly. I smiled for the first time in days, but then I realized something. Legal action felt too clean, too impersonal, too civilized for what they'd done to me. Ashley had made this personal when she decided I was an embarrassment to her perfect new life. She wanted to play social climbing games and exclude family members who didn't meet her new standards. Fine. I could play games too, and I was much better at strategy than she'd ever be. Instead of going the legal route immediately, I decided to use the professional skills that had made me successful in the first place. See, Brad might think he's some kind of crypto genius, but I actually understand business, marketing, and most importantly, networking and relationship management. I remembered something Ashley had mentioned in passing several months ago during one of her excited phone calls about wedding planning. Brad was actively seeking Series A funding for some new cryptocurrency project. He'd been bragging to her about meetings with investors and venture capital firms, claiming he was going to build the next big blockchain platform. I spent an entire weekend doing what I do best in my professional life: comprehensive research and competitive analysis. I found Brad's LinkedIn profile, his company website, his social media presence, press mentions, business registrations, everything I could dig up. This guy was running what appeared to be a pretty questionable operation. His crypto investment firm was basically him and two other guys operating out of a shared workspace, making trades based on market sentiment and YouTube tutorials. But here's where it got interesting. He was actively courting Series A funding for some ambitious blockchain project he claimed would revolutionize decentralized finance. And one of the potential investors he'd been pitching? A venture capital firm where my college buddy Tyler works as a senior investment partner. Tyler and I went to Northwestern together, we're in the same business fraternity, and we've stayed in touch over the years. He's sharp, successful, and well-connected in the Chicago investment community. More importantly, he values character and integrity in the entrepreneurs he backs. I gave Tyler a call on Sunday afternoon, framing it as catching up with an old friend. Jake, man, it's been way too long. How's the advertising world treating you these days? Can't complain, Tyler. Business is good, clients are happy, and I'm finally at the level where work feels more strategic than tactical. Hey, random question. Is your firm looking at a crypto startup called Blockvest Capital? Oh, wow, yeah, actually. Some guy named Brad reached out through our website a few weeks ago. Pretty small operation, but the initial pitch deck looked somewhat interesting from a market opportunity perspective. Why do you ask? That's my sister's fiancé. And let me tell you about the kind of character and judgment this guy really demonstrates. I told Tyler everything. How Brad had influenced my sister to exclude her own brother from their wedding because his wealthy family thought I wouldn't fit in with their social circle. How he was obviously using her for her social media presence and appearance, while she used him for his money and lifestyle. How his entire business model appeared to be built on cryptocurrency speculation, rather than legitimate technology innovation or sustainable business strategy. Dude, that's seriously messed up on multiple levels. And honestly, we were already having some second thoughts about the investment after our preliminary due diligence. Our research team raised several red flags during their initial analysis. What kind of red flags? Let's just say their financial statements don't quite add up when you dig into the details, and their business model is essentially buy cryptocurrency assets and hope the market continues going up. There's no real technological innovation, no proprietary platform, no sustainable competitive advantage. We were probably going to pass anyway, but hearing about their character and decision-making in personal matters gives me even more concern about their professional ethics and judgment. Well, maybe you should pass extra thoroughly on this one, and maybe mention to other investors in your network what kind of character and values this guy demonstrates when he thinks no one important is watching. Tyler laughed, and I could hear the wheels turning in his head. You know what, Jake? I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. The investment community here is smaller than people realize, and word travels fast when someone raises concerns about character or ethics. The wedding was scheduled for a Saturday in late June at some expensive venue outside the city. That Friday morning, I made a decision that felt absolutely liberating. I took a personal day from work and drove 3 hours north to this amazing resort I'd been wanting to visit for years, but never made time for. I booked myself a long weekend in their best available suite, $600 a night, but it had incredible mountain views, spa access, room service, and a private balcony overlooking a lake. After years of sacrificing my own desires to fund Ashley's lifestyle, spending money on myself felt revolutionary. I posted a picture from the resort lobby with the caption, "Sometimes the best seat at a wedding is anywhere else. Living my best life, no regrets." But here's where the story gets really satisfying, Reddit. That Friday evening, while I'm enjoying an incredible dinner from room service and watching the sunset reflect off the lake from my private balcony, my phone starts lighting up with notifications like a Christmas tree. Tyler had done his job beautifully. Word had spread through his professional network that Brad was ethically questionable and financially questionable. But more importantly, one of the other potential investors had decided to do some serious due diligence into Brad's actual financial situation. And what they discovered was absolutely beautiful in its karmic justice. Turns out my future brother-in-law had been massively inflating his assets and income to impress Ashley, her friends, and potential investors. The luxury downtown apartment he'd been featuring in his social media posts, rented month to month, and he was 3 months behind on payments with an eviction notice pending. The Porsche he drove to fancy restaurants and networking events, leased, and also multiple payments behind with repossession threatened. His incredibly successful cryptocurrency portfolio that he bragged about constantly, down about 70% from its peak value, and he'd been borrowing money against credit cards to maintain his lifestyle and cover trading losses. But here's the absolute most beautiful part of this entire situation. The wedding venue required a $45,000 deposit that was supposed to be paid 3 weeks prior to the event. Brad had been stalling the venue coordinator, claiming there was a temporary liquidity issue with one of his major investments that would be resolved within days. My cousin Tommy was at the wedding. Apparently, he made the guest list just fine, despite being far less financially successful than me. And he started sending me real-time text updates that were better than any movie I could have watched. Dude, there are people in expensive suits here who are definitely not wedding guests. They're talking to Brad in the corner, and he looks absolutely panicked. Holy crap. I think those were representatives from the venue. Brad just disappeared with Ashley into some back room, and when they came out 5 minutes later, she was crying, and her makeup was completely ruined. The wedding coordinator just made an announcement that there's going to be a brief delay in the ceremony, but people are starting to whisper, and some guests are actually leaving. This is getting chaotic. Ashley's bridesmaids are all crying now and consoling her. Brad's family looks furious and embarrassed. Someone just said the venue is threatening to shut everything down. I ordered more room service, this incredible steak dinner with lobster, and kept reading the updates with growing satisfaction. Brad just gathered everyone together and announced that his business partner embezzled money from their company accounts, and he can't make the venue payment. Ashley started screaming at him in front of literally everyone. The venue manager just kicked everyone out. All 195 guests are standing in the parking lot in their formal wear with nowhere to go. Ashley is having a complete breakdown, and Brad's family is pretending they don't know him. I took a screenshot of that last message and saved it to my phone. Sometimes the universe delivers justice in the most poetic ways possible. Sunday morning, I woke up naturally. No alarm, no stress, no family drama, to sunlight streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows of my suite. I made coffee with the fancy machine they'd provided, stepped out onto my private balcony, and checked my phone for the first time since Friday night. 52 missed calls, 127 text messages, voicemails from Ashley, Mom, various relatives, and even some numbers I didn't recognize. Probably wedding guests wanting to know what had happened, and if there was going to be some kind of makeup event. I settled into the comfortable lounge chair on my balcony, coffee in hand, mountain lake stretching out in front of me, and started returning some calls. This was going to be entertaining. First call, Ashley. She answered before the first ring even finished. Jake! Oh my God, Jake! Thank God you're answering. Please, I desperately need your help. Everything fell apart yesterday, and I don't know what to do, and everyone's asking questions and... Slow down, Ashley. Take a breath. What exactly happened? The wedding was completely canceled. Brad lied about everything, Jake. Everything! He's completely broke. Like, actually, totally broke. The venue is threatening to sue us for the balance. The catering company wants their money. All the vendors are demanding immediate payment, and I don't have anything, and I don't know what to do. And that sounds really stressful, I said calmly, taking a leisurely sip of my coffee while watching a family of ducks swim across the lake. But I'm sure you and Brad will figure something out together. Jake, Brad's gone. He left Saturday night, just packed all his stuff and disappeared. His phone goes straight to voicemail. His family won't talk to me. And I found out his apartment is being repossessed, and his car is being repossessed, and I need to borrow money from you. I need like $75,000 to cover all the vendor costs, or they're going to take me to court and destroy my credit. I nearly choked on my coffee trying not to laugh out loud. The audacity was breathtaking. You need $75,000? I know it's a lot, but you're literally the only person I know who has that kind of money readily available, and I'm absolutely desperate here. I'll pay you back every single penny, I swear on Dad's grave. I'll get a real job, like a serious full-time job, and I'll pay you back with interest. And Ashley, I interrupted her rambling. Where was my wedding invitation? Complete silence on the other end of the line. I could practically hear her brain trying to figure out how to respond. Where was my invitation to your wedding, Ashley? Jake, I know I made a mistake, okay? I realize now that I messed up really badly. I was stressed and overwhelmed, and Brad was pressuring me, and his family had all these opinions and expectations, and you told Mom that I would embarrass you in front of Brad's wealthy family. I never said that exactly. That's not what I meant. Mom told me word for word what you said, Ashley. That his family thought I wouldn't fit in with their social circle, that you were worried about my social standing, and how I might make you look bad in front of their country club friends. That's not, I mean, look, Jake, I was wrong, okay? I was completely wrong, and I'm really, really sorry. But right now, I desperately need your help, and no. What? No, Ashley, I'm not helping you this time. Jake, please, you don't understand how serious this is. They're going to sue me. My credit will be completely destroyed. I might lose my apartment. I could end up homeless, and sounds like you should have thought about those consequences before you decided I wasn't good enough for your perfect wedding. I hung up and immediately blocked her number. The phone rang again within 30 seconds, Mom calling. Jake, thank God you answered. Ashley called me crying hysterically. She told me what happened with the wedding. This is a complete disaster, and she really needs our help right now. She needs my help, you mean? When's the last time you sent Ashley any money, Mom? That's not the point here, Jake. She's family. And when family is in serious trouble, we help each other. That's what family does. I'm family too, Mom. I'm family too. But that didn't stop either of you from supporting the decision to exclude me from the most important day of her life. Jake, please don't be petty about this. Your sister is in real financial and legal trouble. Those vendors are serious about pursuing legal action. Good. Maybe she'll finally learn that actions have consequences, and you can't just charm your way out of every problem. How can you be so cold and heartless? This is your sister we're talking about. Yeah, maybe she should have remembered that before she decided I was an embarrassment to her social climbing aspirations. I hung up and blocked Mom's number too. Over the next several hours, I received calls from various relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins, all attempting to guilt me into helping Ashley out of her financial crisis. Each time I told them the same thing. She made a deliberate choice about what kind of family relationship she wanted with me, and now she gets to live with the consequences of that choice. Tuesday morning, I got a call from an unknown number with a local area code. Is this Jake? Who's asking? This is Brad. Look, man, I know we haven't actually met in person, but I really need to talk to you about helping Ashley out of this situation. This whole thing got completely out of hand and spiraled beyond anyone's control and, oh, you're the Brad who convinced my sister that I wasn't good enough for your wedding? Look, that wasn't really my decision. That was more about family dynamics and social expectations that were beyond my control. Actually, Brad, I have some free advice for you. There's an excellent bankruptcy attorney downtown. Her office is on LaSalle Street. You should probably give her a call as soon as possible. You're going to need serious professional help. What's that supposed to mean? It means word travels incredibly fast in business and investment circles when someone's been lying about their financial situation and personal character. I'd start updating that resume if I were you. The crypto industry in Chicago is smaller than you think, and people definitely talk to each other. Are you threatening me? I'm giving you practical advice. You made enemies of the wrong people when you decided to exclude family members from important life events. Now you get to learn what it feels like when your social network decides you don't fit in with their values. I hung up and blocked that number too. By Wednesday, Ashley was calling from Mom's phone, then from random numbers belonging to friends, then getting other people to call on her behalf. Each conversation followed the same pattern: desperate begging, promises to change, attempts to guilt me into fixing her self-created problems. Each time I said no and hung up. Thursday afternoon, I got a text update from Tommy. Dude, Ashley's moving back in with your mom in Arizona. Brad completely vanished. Apparently, he owes money to some serious people and had to leave town. His company folded, and Ashley's asking literally everyone she knows if they're hiring for anything. I screenshot that message and sent it to my group chat with my college friends, along with the caption, "When keeping it fake goes horribly wrong." Friday morning, Tommy sent another update. Ashley's working at a chain restaurant now as a server. Tips only, no guaranteed salary. Your mom is making her pay rent to live in the spare bedroom. The Instagram influencer thing dried up completely after the wedding disaster went viral on social media. Her follower count dropped to like 20,000. When I finally returned home from my extended weekend on Sunday evening, there were wilted flowers on my doorstep, soggy from rain. Multiple cards from Ashley apologizing and begging for forgiveness. Voicemails where she's crying about how sorry she is and how she'll do anything to make things right, and how she realizes now how much I've always meant to her, and how she can't survive without my support. I threw the dead flowers directly in the trash without reading the cards, and deleted all the voicemails without listening to them. Because here's the fundamental truth that Reddit needs to understand. I didn't destroy Ashley's life. I didn't sabotage her wedding or ruin her relationship. I simply stopped enabling her poor decisions and allowed reality to catch up with the choices she'd been making for years.